Oh, Colten, hey, you wanna play?
With you? Not a chance.
The FGC might be the most incredible institution in competitive gaming, and over the years, it's given esports some of its most memorable moments.
I'm not even gonna knock it yet. I'm not even gonna. Oh my God! He just down it! Takes it! One more hit can do it. Oh my God! Harris, I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's Unity by Alex! Oh! Combo B!
But on top of its flashy plays and illustrious titles, the FGC might be better known for its cast of colorful characters. Legends known for their discipline in-game, and the complete opposite outside of it.
This is Daigo after, I guess, being hungover or some shit and sleeping on a fucking table outside of Cal Poly, and now he's walking out. Look at he's scratching his ass.
Truly the beast.
But where did this scene with such a rich history built by dozens of iconic games and personalities begin? Well, back in the mid-90s, instead of sitting at your computer and finding competition online, gamers would battle for supremacy at their local arcade.
That's like where the scene starts, the fucking arcade. Like, that's where everybody's at.
Dirty as fuck, stinky, but it felt like home.
At the time, fighting games were the hottest commodity in that space. And the benchmark for the genre was Street Fighter II, evidenced by the number of terrible, shameless clones it inspired. Garbage like Fight Fever, Kaiser Knuckle, and most notoriously, Fighter's History.
There's someone in my house eating my birthday cake with my family, and it's not me.
Anyway, early arcade culture fostered a sense of solidarity and rivalry among players, which formed the foundation of the fighting game community. In the endless pursuit to improve their skills, players tested themselves against one another, occasionally in settings that more closely resembled underground fighting rings than arcades, competitive arenas where both friendships and money could be made or lost. As players became masters of their digital dojos, they sought tougher challenges to really test their abilities. And it wasn't long before the best Japanese players began making their way to North America to determine regional dominance. At the first ever East versus West showdown in 1998, that question would be answered by a match between two eventual legends. The West representative was Alex Valle, North America's best player who had gained a reputation for his innovative strategies. Representing the East was Daigo Umehara, a soft-spoken yet ferocious competitor who would go on to become the most famous Street Fighter player of all time. Although Daigo and the East emerged victorious, the meeting between the two regions was a landmark moment for the FGC. Not only did it kick off Japan's long reign over Street Fighter, but it united the two scenes, consecrating the FGC as an international community, a quality that would come to be celebrated annually at EVO, the world's largest fighting game tournament. However, despite the strength of arcade culture, the rise in popularity of home consoles led to fewer cabinet releases, and as a result, a once buzzing competitive environment began to disappear.
In 2008, I still remember at one point looking around the room and going, I know like almost everybody here. Like, I'm not seeing new faces, and I distinctly remember having a feeling that this was the beginning of the end.
What some call the dark age of fighting games lasted nearly a decade. And although the period still produced a number of iconic moments, it wasn't until Street Fighter IV's release that the scene experienced a resurgence. The game drew in hundreds of thousands of new players, and more importantly, it breathed new life into a competitive scene that had only survived because of its most dedicated followers.
The crowd is on its feet.
And thanks to the FGC's resilience, fighting games today are more popular now than ever.
Yo, wait, do not tell me we're gonna summon. Are we gonna summon? Oh! And Summon Fox is your Dragon Ball FighterZ Evolution 2018 champion!
He couldn't burst because of the super. But Washiga thinks it's over!
Lock down,
He won the last round! And the Gowan doesn't care! He still got 65%!
Oh my God!
Washiga, no!
not like this? What are you standing up for? Why?
Oh my God!
Just one thing I want to say. Fighting game is something so great. Thank you so much.
But on top of having one of gaming's most dramatic stories and oldest scenes, what makes the FGC unique? Well, one thing is how it views its competitors. At fighting game tournaments, every player is entered into the same open bracket, essentially meaning that even relative newcomers can find themselves facing off against former EVO champions. Imagine picking up boxing for a week, but your first opponent is Floyd Mayweather Jr. It just wouldn't happen. But in fighting games, that shit's the norm. And every now and then, even the unthinkable can happen.
Is he going to final round?
Oh my days, is Punk in the loser's bracket right now?
Is he gonna go? Is this will be upset?
Punk's in big trouble!
But he's got critical alert and V-trigger. Oh my God!
Last year's runner-up. Oh my God! Almost done it! Punk has been sent to the loser's bracket here at EVO 2018.
Outside of the level playing field it offers competitors, the FGC stands apart when it comes to diversity. There are communities all over the world in places you'd never expect, and they've been responsible for giving us some of esports' most inspiring stories.
There's Arson trying to close out the tournament! But he's pushing him towards the danger zone. Oh, wait, the backswing! He's in range again! He's the Phoenix ahead! He's the Phoenix behind!
Oh, he got it! It's over!
Arson's gonna get the tournament! Arson, he's your EVO Japan champion!
But we might never have heard of competitors like Arslan Ash, Mena RD, and Latif, among others, if it wasn't for the financial support given to them by the FGC. Longtime scene veterans like Justin Wong and Knuckledew have even been known to fly out amazing players who can't afford to attend major tournaments just to give them a chance to shine. But it's not just the players that are varied in the FGC, it's the games as well. Fortnite and CSGO are both shooters, but if you implied they were part of the same larger community, people would laugh in your face.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
But in the FGC, no matter what you play, you're part of the community. Whether it's Street Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat, Sailor Moon, Shrek, Super Slam, Def Jam Fight for New York, or Under Night in Birth, :exe::late CL-R.
What the hell was the last one?
I don't know, Matt, I just read these scripts. It's probably some porn-related computer virus or some weeb game, or possibly both.
NANI?
Now that's not to say there isn't some controversy surrounding what games belong in the FGC. This is particularly true of the Smash games, which are fighting games, but have such a different community that some people separate them into entirely different scenes. Fortunately, stages like EVO have been able to bridge the divide between the two, proving they can peacefully share the same spotlight. But over the years, the FGC hasn't just been able to change people's lives, it's also asserted itself as a powerful influence on the gaming industry. Developers have even attempted to appeal to the FGC to give their games a better shot at being successful. Look at BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, which literally put the EVO logo on its box when it came out. Or Samurai Showdown, which was shaped by its community during development, resulting in it being briefly sold out upon its Japanese release. That being said, we've also seen that the FGC is capable of destroying a game before it even comes out. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is one of those games. Prior to its release, the community was up in arms about everything, from the way it looked to the lack of X-Men on its roster. Fans were especially triggered when Capcom referred to these missing characters as functions.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Although Infinite was more of an incomplete game than a terrible one, it largely bombed because Capcom failed to win over the FGC with it. But as impressive as the FGC's scale, diversity, and influence are, what truly makes it special is its enduring spirit. If developer support dried up tomorrow for just about any other gaming community, the competitive scene would die pretty quickly, whereas the FGC has been able to survive without it. Remember Alex Valle and Daigo, the two guys that effectively united the global FGC in the 90s? They're both still around. Daigo is still chasing titles over 20 years later.
EX Sonic Boom! Daigo Umehara in top 8 winners.
While Valle has assumed the role of a father figure for the FGC, running tournaments, lending his face to endless memes, and of course, handing out the occasional ass whooping too.
Good blocks from Alex Valle. He is not trying to take no brain trash. You're gonna throw me. Commit. But yeah, is he gonna finish it off? Ah! And he sends number
I love it. I love
to
it.
the losers and the patented fist bump.
That's
Alex
how you do it.
Valle. That man smells like Gucci Gabbana. Good God.
I like that. It was very polite. He gave him the old man, young boy handshake.
The heroes of the FGC don't just vanish like they do in so many other scenes. Instead, they keep going and continue to show a new generation of players how to love fighting games.
Wake up buttons from Momochi, not scared. There's the slide and the back throw, and Momochi is gonna take it, and he takes off the headphones with a smile like the proudest father.
That's true, yeah.
No matter your age, sex, where you're from, or what game you play, you're welcomed into something greater, and that's the true beauty of the FGC. It's the oldest, most unique, and resilient community in gaming, kept alive by decades of dedication, personified by passionate heroes,
Back from the impossible consequences of being in the loser's bracket.
and immortalized by incredible hype. Oh, hey, Dan. Wanna play?
After last time? Fuck that.
I'll play.
So what happened last time?
Nothing really. Just showed Dan how to play Street Fighter 6 in the parking lot. I feel like you laughed. You fucking laughed. He laughed.
I was laughing and then
You fucking...
So like I kept going, but I'm like, not laughing.
It's the hey Dan every time.
Don't say it actually. I'm positioning it. Like, just say it.
Alright, guys,
okay.
go ahead.
Action. Oh, hey Dan. Wanna play?
After last time? Fuck Matt.
Fucking camper guy can't keep it together.